Evening, old peeps. Just looking. Here's the old. Hang on. There we go. That should be better. Ba-boom. Give us a shout out if you can hear me. Here's the sound on here. Hey, up, 5 in. Hello, who's in the house? Thank you, Mick. Thank God for that. I thought it was a mute. And how the hell is it in Ireland today? Have you been getting up to out, buddy? He says, munching a jubbly. They're not the size they used to be. Mind you, they're not the company that used to do them, I don't think. What's Strom? Good day, Andy. You all right? How the hell are you doing? I think they did 2 for it. Was it cherry they did? The original jubbly. Like a cherry flavour and an orange. I know you had 2, but I don't know. I think there were 2. Yeah, it's not too bad here, Mick. Not too bad at all. I've not been out in it, but it's not been bad. I've been mega lazy. Well, I've just had like 60-hour week, so I've been chilling. I've not gone out. I thought, sod that for a game of soldiers. I've been really boring and shredding letters. Like doing some tidying and stuff. Oh, Nate. Nice place over there, Andy. Good evening, fellas. Good to have you along. Don't know whether I mentioned it, Mick, the other night. But I've got another Facebook ban. The simple shit you have to say nowadays to get it, it's getting ridiculous. It's getting to a point it's a farce. People are getting to be little dictators. All I said was, and I quote, they put one of these steak-liking things on, memes, and it were an over well done steak. And all I said was, if a chef served me a steak like that, I'd kick him in the arse. Like, it weren't long, 30-day ban. Whatever. But if you overdo a steak, all the flavour's gone. Chefs must growl when they bloody cook overdone steaks. They must be there thinking there must be more to me life I learn to do steak to perfection, then I get an heathen. That's not on Andy. Totally inconsiderate of him. Good evening, Matty Matt. Totally inconsiderate of him. Hey up, Shedmouth. Yeah, me new nom de plume. Angus Mac, yeah. Oh, yeah, you know, I don't know where they get them from, but they must have really sheltered lives. They mustn't mix with other people well. Buddy? Where you from normally, Andy? Just thinking. Yeah, yeah. Me nom de plume, Mick. I did that video without a word of a lie. I woke up bursting for the toilet at 3 o'clock in the morning. And while I was still awake, I thought I'm bored, I want something to do before I go back to sleep. Did a video, uploaded it, went to sleep, got back up again at 6 for work. Well, Mick, I don't know what to do for this corgi build coming up, going off model trains. I'm doing a corgi Corvette for PB's Corvette build, but I don't want to enter the same one for diecast and modelers. I bet they select Facebook's admins from all the kids that were bullied and got their heads shut down toilet at school. I bet they're all that type. Have a gripe about everyone else in society. Yeah, the old, have you seen the blue goldfish? Badoosh. Excellent. We work in that valleys. I've not had chance with my layout over last fortnight or so. Like I say, I've done a 60-hour week this week. I've been at work more than at home. But yeah, I'm going to have to get back on it. Do some stuff with layout. I want to get some plates to join it together. I want to cut a bit off one end and then get going. Yeah, I'm not too lazy, Valleys. I just have so many things going on. Like I'm off to a concert next week, and either next week or week after I've got a photography shoot lined up. Go out with the old. Where is it? Hang on. Just had it before. Go out with the old beastie. Like nice bit of gear. The old Nikon. Yeah, I get apathy. Nice piece of gear. I use it. I've got one DSLR I use for my video work. I've got one that's retired now in cabinet. I retired me. I've not used my Nikon D40 for it. It's all working and everything, just not used it. I have an old Nikon D40. I use a D90 for filming, and that's a Pro Stills camera. Like I do all sorts, motor racing. So I've not used it for steam shots yet. Or not to the best of my knowledge. I may have done one day. I can have a look through me. In fact, hang on, the other day I think I did look through card. I think there were some steam shots on. Yeah, the old I've got all Nick. I've not upgraded for a while. I might upgrade at some point. Get a set. I'm getting to that point in my life now, though. I'm starting wondering: is the investment worth it? Is the money I'd spend worth it for how much I get out of it? Yeah, good to hear, isn't it? I've not. Yeah, that's the reason I've not been on into the group for a bit, Shedmouth. I keep getting barred at the moment. I'll have to start playing nice with people. Well, to be honest, I'm playing nice. I never insult people or I'm never nasty. I'll do humorous stuff, but I'm never directly nasty. It's just people have. It's like I put on my video with Sam's trains and locomotion motion. They're losing their shit about nothing. If somebody had. If you're playing that game, if you start playing that game, you've nicked my copyright and being arsey about it. Hornby can snap back at him and say, well, you've nicked our copyright because we've not given you permission to put them wagons on video. Or like Cadbury's and etc. can go, well, no, Hornby will have been, they'll have paid to use the rights for the chocolate vans. They'll have given a fee to Cadbury's or whoever. Or worked out a deal with them. Because let's be honest, no company's going to be arsey about your advertising, the company and the goods. You'd have to be pretty dim. You'd have to be pretty dim to like complain about people advertising your wares. Got to be careful. Got to be careful. I don't spill that. I don't want to flood the flat below. Bloody not had a comb for years. Look at this. No good for me freaking head. You're getting there though, Valleys. You're doing something. I've not even got to point a bloody track laying yet. Well, I've got track on it, but it's not laid. It's just put onto it. I'm a cat lover and I just found that. I love cats, but if you have one, you should be responsible and control it. If I had one, it'd be an house cat and stopped in. Because they kill songbirds, they dump in people's gardens. I mean, they kill vermin, that's a positive, but they also kill songbirds. So it's a 50-50. The negatives can outweigh the positives. Hey, I've never been, you know, Mick, I've never been directly nasty to anyone. The worst thing I probably said was I'd soon cure them coming across channeling dinghies. A machine gun one. I said, you'd only have to do one. That got me a 30-day ban instantly. But it's true, we can't keep being Billy Big Bollocks and saying we're a rich nation and going, come into everybody from around the world. You can't do it. The thing is, they're too dim to realise, these that are allowing it, that the future's going to be really screwed over. It's getting there now. Golly. But yeah. So just looking up, where did you say you were from, Andy? I asked him before, but I don't know whether he's answered or not. I know he's up in Carnforth, he said. Used to be steamports up there, used to be a good heritage railway there. I don't know whether it's still up there. It were a cracking heritage railway though, Carnforth. Remember it well. Because I think they had a link onto main line. So a lot of the rail tours used to go from Carnforth. If I remember rightly. I'm still waiting for my application back, my membership card for my local steam railway. I've not heard out back of them yet. I'm beginning to think that were 30 quid wasted. Yeah, is anyone else a member of, I know Mick won't be, but anyone else have preservation societies and a member of them? Because mine is, it's a cracking deal. I think you get 3 free tickets if you remember. And it was 28 quid to join, I think, if I remember. And you get 3 free tickets. Full, it's when they specify you can use them. Like you can't use them for events and that. But days when there's not events on, you can go. And it's unlimited all day. And I think it was 16 quid I paid when I went. I only wanted to go up to next station along. And I bought a ticket and I didn't know it actually covered me all day and wherever I wanted to go. So I only went to next station along and back. Oh no, that's sad, Valleys. Sad when they have to close. The future of ours could be a bit iffy as far as going up Rammy and Rottenstall goes, because one of the bridges needs attention. And they need so many million or something to do it. I suppose they can always go over Haywood Way. But yeah, it needs some attention, apparently, one of bridges. Hey, but you work it out, They get very little maintenance and they get a lot of rail traffic over it. And you work it out how long ago it was since the Irish navvies, no offence intended, Mick, but the Irish navvies that used to come over here and build all the bridges and build cuttings and build everything, it's well over 100 to 200 years. 100 to 150 years. Well, 150 years it'll be, roughly. 100 to 150, give or take. Very little maintenance, and they're still solid structures. Testament, really, to how good they built them. Bloody hell, if they built something like that now, we didn't need a major rebuild in 30 years. All the old materials stripping off and new putting in. There's very few that have the skills of building like they used to. But if you look at it, all the stuff that were done in this country with Irish labour mainly, like you had all the canals they built and what do you call it, railways. Then latter days they did motorways. They did one hell of a lot of work for our transport systems. And it's like a footprint and as if you will on the land. A bloody good one, very impressive one. You look at some of the structures they built and they're amazing. Trying to think now, but the amount of man hours and stuff that there must be. That was something I only learned recently as well. I didn't work it out until later years now, but a lot of us, we go out and used to dig we used to dig for glass bottles, etc., Victorian bottles. and that. And I basically found a load when I was a kid, and I had them collected the old bottles. And you didn't give a thought at the time where they come from or anything. And just recently, I give it a thought where by the positioning and everything was, and where we dug them. And it was more or less next to the railway viaduct where I was digging near my old house. And then it comes to mind. They'd have set up camp on the job they were doing, and they'd have been next to the railway for building all the embankments, and the biggest job on it would have been building the actual viaduct. So they'd have camped up next to it, and where we were digging bottles would have been the rubbish tip from obviously eating the medicines, etc. Yeah, Mick is, whoa, it's unbelievable the amount of work they've done over years. And why Britain as well, they have a big Irish heritage in Britain as well. In fact, most of Britain can probably say they've got Irish in them somewhere along the lines. I mean, I'm half Scots, so there's probably Irish in me from Scots side. I've not been that far back, to be honest, on family roots. I should do it to some degree, like, what do you call it? I know my mum's side of the family, but not a lot about my dad's side. Like, I know my granny worked not in the pits, but at the pits. She worked cleaning and stuff, and she were a woman apparently, like miners would be coming out bollock naked from showers. And they'd be, hey, and she'd have, like, nah, you've not a chance, I know. Danish? Where did that sneak in, Vallis? Bloody hell, I've tip me off of that to you, Matty Matt. I drove one of them dumpers one time, shitting myself in case I fell off it. Bloody perched up on a little seat. I was recovering it from a motorway. Shit, that's a shit deal, Matty. Shit end of stick, we're all getting older. All right, get you. Yeah, I get you now, yeah. Stupid me. Talking about driving dumpers. Well, I drove one anyway. Yeah, it was. My sister and brother-in-law had better ones than me. Oh shit! Stop it, Valleys. Frodo. I used to know some. I think they were Danes where I used to live. A mum and her 3 daughters. One of them were a right Roman. She used to come back off holiday abroad. And she used to go, do you want to see me all over town? And all the lads were, What do you think? And she weren't shy, she showed it. Thank God for some of the women we knew. And then you got a sister, oh God. It was scary. Her sister were an attractive girl. Blonde, blue eyes and everything. And she was an attractive girl, but she was more manly in some of her ways than some of the blokes I knocked around with. She were all right if you could stop her spitting for long enough to talk to her. And then the other one, I've not seen her for years now. But she was called, she pronounced it Etta. And we used to call her Etta, but it was Hertha, Eartha or whatever. But she said it's Etta, it's pronounced it, so I went, all right, you probably know better than us. Oh yeah, she was not seen her for years now. Like I say, Matty, it's time's a cruel bitch. I've been shredding some envelopes that had piled up behind me door. It only feels like 5 minutes since last time I did it. I was shredding up bank statements from 2020. Where did that go? Well, 2021 was earliest. So last time I did it were about 3 years ago. I don't get a lot of letters. I pick up the interesting stuff and leave me bank statements to shred later. As long as I've got money when I go to it card and whatever. I never really look what I have. I know I get paid, I know I spend it. I'm not getting any nasty letters off the bank, happy days. I couldn't tell you what my bank balance was now without going down and asking for one. All right, nice to have you in, Shedmouth. Not seen you for a bit. I was saying Shedmouth because I don't... I didn't know whether it you, Martin, or Evie. Sometimes Evie uses your handle. But take care, buddy. Good to have you in. Yeah, lost my train of thought. Train? Somebody mentioned train. So what's everybody's most recent train purchases? I don't bother with the never, never valleys. Can't do, I'm blacklisted. From years ago, like, but I've never bothered getting it going again. Bank give me a loan for when I wanted a motorcycle. Paid that off in no time. And I've still got credit card. Like that just there. I never put anything on. I should pay it because most of my payments are going on interest and etc. But I keep like, I'm like, can't be asked. It's good though when you go through stuff and you find stuff that when I was shredding my envelopes, I found stuff I forgot I bought on eBay. I've got today I've got some M2 screws and nuts. Not a clue what I bought them for. Not a clue. I might have bought them for the nuts. Might have bought them for the screws. But they were hidden amongst the stuff. I got some American decals. So, Western Pacific. It's weird, you can't get used to that, you know. When you're looking at it and you're used to looking in mirrors where you're the wrong way around. And it's the right way around, so it does. And, whoa, my head's freaked. I'm considering, like you know, Valleys, I very rarely buy new. Very, very rarely buy new. But I do want, when it comes out, I want the Hornby Class 66, Northampton Saints. And I only want that because when I visited Birmingham with Mick, who's on here, and on my way home, there were a train full of Ford commercial vehicles come out of the plant going on to wherever. And it was Northampton Saints that were all in it. And it's in the livery that Hornby's released it in. So I'd like that as a nice memory of the weekend. Get that one, be an extra special logo. But yeah, it's not a bad price either, really. That one, I think it's about, it might be just over 100, I think, or just under. I know I won't pay a lot. I know what I'm like. Yeah, I've got a couple of 66s. Well, I tell a lie. Well, actually, I do tell a lie. Because they're all 59s. Hornby's been passing the Lima 59 off as a 66 for years. There's a slight difference, but it's not enough to worry about. It's more than passable. But it's the old Lima 59 that Hornby use as the 66. Which is feasible enough, I suppose. It works. Oh, I've got a dead leg. Hang on, show me t-shirt. The Beagles. There you are. Dogs, etc. Just in case anybody were wondering what t-shirts I have on. It's the Beagles. But yeah, I keep thinking about getting an Acura scale. One of them. I've got a Helgen, one Helgen, in amongst my stuff, and I do like that. I do like that. I've got an Elgin baggage car. I might have just. Do you have one, you said, as well, Valleys? One of the Elgin baggage cars, the DMUs. I know somebody said they had one. Well, that's impressive. Yeah, well, it was. Must have been somebody else, Valleys. Yeah, it were a good memory, that. Tell you what, though, for me, when I go on trains now, I used to go from Piccadilly a lot in the 70s, early 80s, etc. And you get on like the old intercities, owned by the class 86s and 85s and stuff. I think you were 87 as well, were it? I don't know. But you get on old by the Lecky locals. And I just can't get used now to being on like cross country services like DMUs. The quick trains, they're nice trains to be in. But I always, it's just me for local services. My brain says DMUs. And for long distance, it says local old. That's always been my mindset for trains. It's weird having long distance DMUs. Like, I used to love getting on local old services, especially if you got the old compartment carriages. And if you got one, you could just have you and your mates in and have a good laugh, or a couple of mates in, and like you could slide the door shut and like put the blinds down if you wanted to. Like that were classy rail travel. Today it's all open plan like cattle trucks. I'd love to see a return to the beautiful days of rail travel like that. Not necessarily the smoke coming into the carriage. That'd be taking it a bit too far back, but like I'd love the old local old stuff. I'm just being nosy and having a toot what's happening outside. All quiet on the Western Front. Night going on. I'm not a nosy neighbour or anything. But yeah, who else? I think we're all old enough to remember the golden years of rail travel, aren't we? I'd say, getting on proper trains. Was a fantastic experience back in the day. Even some on, even back in the 70s, Blackpool was mostly serviced by DMUs because it was a relatively short route. But eventually you had, well, no, not eventually. Every now and again, I should say, you'd have a local hold service to Blackpool. I've rode them over that way. My dad used to do Blackpool a lot in late 70s as a Victoria Guard, so I'd cab ride them. Oh yeah, the old London EMUs. I did ride the EMUs a couple of times when I were. A lot of the time, if I did that, because my dad were in Royal Navy during the war. During the war, he was an Uncle Albert. During war, and he used to. If we went abroad, say on the ferry, because he were a big supporter of sea travel. So you'd go down to Dover on the EMUs. And also he did Portsmouth. Well, he wasn't a Portsmouth sailor. Hello, sailor. He was a Chatham. His base was Chatham. So he took us over Chatham and stuff. I went to Navy Days at one point over in Chatham. It was a good weekend. Got a nice B&B and stuff there. Because it was hard to find. We found it lastminute.com. I think my dad went in the hope he'd just get in somewhere easy. But we being Navy Days, it were absolutely flogged out. He'd have probably met your dad, Valleys. Wouldn't be surprised. Would have met him, because my dad's battleship had aircraft on. My dad's battleship had 2 walruses on it. Or it might have been 4, it might have had 2 in hangars. I forgot what its actual sort. But they were definitely walrus. They were walruses fired off catapults. Like it were rebuilt with aircraft hangars to the rear for recce aircraft. One of the pilots one time, if it'd have been me, I'd have been more adventurous than me dad. But the pilot one day, one of the pilots, he turned round to me dad and said, "Do you fancy coming up with me?" And me old's fella, he said, "Look off, I've seen you fly." I said, "I'm not coming up with you, I've seen you fly." So yeah, he stayed on ship. Funny he were at times, me old fella. Oh, I love the Avengers. I like the walruses, but you look at some of our naval aircraft compared to what the Americans have. Seafire was more modernish, but you look at some of our fleet air arm aircraft compared to what the Americans had on their carriers. Ironically, I'm building one at the moment. I'm building an Helldiver. Gradually getting through it. I've just been picking out in paint the canopies, and then I'll tidy them up after, scrape any of the excess off. I've not done too bad, but I need to take some of the excess off. And I've done the engine, dry brushed it and everything. Barracudas were a good aircraft. Sorry, yeah, they weren't rated, were they? I liked them though. But I'm a bit, what can you say? I'm a bit biased, Valleys, because I live not far off where they'd have been built. Because I think, weren't there, let me think, were they a furry barracuda? Or a black, I think it were a furry barracuda. I'm just looking now. Yeah, he were a furry. Which were local to me. I'll just look it up. Yeah, they'd have built. looking for where they were. Well, that's interesting. Just looking, they built them as well. They would have been built at Ringway, Manchester Airport. I know the Lancaster bombers were made there. Yeah, the ferry was near. Mind you, I'm in Northwest. There's a lot of aviation companies still over here. Not a shadow of its former self. But I used to, when I worked in engineering, I used to visit BAE Systems. And I used to go to, they don't call them hangars or whatever, they call them sheds on, like aviation manufacturing. They call them sheds. They go over at shed 27 or shed 7 or wherever you're going. And one I went in one time when I went there were bits off the Tornado being manufactured. There were a swing wing on the floor, like being all sorted out and everything. And there were places they wouldn't allow you in, obviously, because it was secret. Half the time when I went over there, it took you half an hour to an hour just to get past gates. Because at the moment, they actually build the fuselages for the F-35s. So you ain't getting nowhere in there. You're getting checked out to the highest degree on the gates. I had an argument with his security one day, totally unlike me arguing. I pulled motorbike up and I was photographing the motorbike with, they had the English Electric Lightning Gate Guardian with the F-35 next to it. And he says, you can't photograph them, you're not meant to be photographing them. I said, why are they top secret? He went, yeah, you're not allowed to photograph them. I said, well, why have you got them on looking big posts outside your gate? I said, they're a bit conspicuous if you want to keep them secret. And he was like, I went, fuck off. Stop being stupid. I'm not coming in, I'm just photographing them from outside. And there's diddly squat you can do. Can't stop anybody photographing from outside. What's visible from there? You don't own the road outside, and you can't control who photographs it. That's why if they want to keep an area from non-surveillance, they plant a row of conifers. They plant a big row of conifers and put buildings in front and stuff, so you can't see what you're doing secret. They don't put it up on posts on entrance if they want to keep it secret. He would just being a prop. They don't even. I talked to security over at Wharton. They don't even take offence. Are you stopping there for photographing the Eurofighter going up. One tests. It'll have test missiles on and everything. I've photographed it a few times, gone up, had a buzz over on the motorcycle, plonked outside gates. Security will come up and have a chat with you. They're not bothered. It's a bit hard to hide it. It's a bit hard to hide a jet fighter when you're in the middle of an housing estate and you set off an afterburner and then yank it vertically up to the heavens. You can't hide that shit. So I've got a few cracking photos of experimental aircraft over there. Like I say, security aren't bothered. They won't move you along. They'll just come and have a chat with you. Like I say, you plonk a fighter aircraft, put it on full afterburner in the middle of an housing estate, then fly down the runway and yank control column back. You ain't hiding that shit. People from miles around knows it's happening. I was surprised one day, though, to say, I think it comes over from Saudi, and it's a 737 cargo plane. It picks up spares for Saudi aircraft, because I think they're still running the Tornado, yeah. Germany is. Germany's still running Tornado. We're the only idiots that give it up. Outstanding. I know we have the Eurofighter, but you still couldn't beat the Tornado on a lot of missions. Thing that we're getting to it, because they were old, was serviceability. Make some new ones and upgrade them. They had a long, hard service life, but it was a cracking aircraft. All that needed was some new airframes made, new engines, and upgrade the avionics. It was a tried and tested aircraft. It was fantastic. Like you say, we'd just worn out what we had. And I'm not convinced some of the newer stuff we get in is any better than in dogfights and that standard. Because it's going to standoff dogfights. Some of them might be better in that scenario with avionics. But when you get close in and using guns and everything, the old Tornado were a nimble old beast, truth be known. Because you had the swing wing on it, it could be made nimble. Some of the fighters that flew it said in a dogfight situation, they could outfly a lot of them. They could keep further away in the envelope than they could. They could turn quicker and leave them to shoot past. Yeah, the fighter variant, it were a nice one, but like you say, they were worn out. They were gasping, they were on the last gasps. And that was what killed it, really, their availability. On Gulf War II, their availability were really down. Some of them were becoming anger queens. But Germans still use them. I think, like I said, I think Saudi does. I'm not sure. I think Italy does. I don't think Italy's got shot. Like I say, out of everyone, I think we're the only ones that aren't using them. But yeah, sad end to a good aircraft. Used to love watching them at displays and stuff. I never caught one at Wharton, which pissed me off. Caught them on demo strafing runs and stuff. And God, were they a frightening piece of kit when they did a strafing and bombing run. They'd bomb you and gone before you knew they were there. The bombs were going off as you could hear their afterburners disappearing over the horizon. As they clicked up and said, let's get out of here. Just hit the 1 hour mark. I'd absolutely love that idea. I want to go on a photographing mission, but I think I'm too old now. Like, because you have to get up in the hills and a lot of it's all walking. My knees and legs are shot, hips, semi-incontinent. Looking can't go anywhere, where's 100 yards away from a toilet. In fact, in some instances, needs to be closer. The joys of being old. But yeah, have you ever, asking you valleys, have you ever looked at a guy called Rory Trapp? I'll type his name in myself so you get the spelling. If you look him up, if you type that into a Google search, valleys, there's a guy, he's a photographer on the map. He's about the best one. His work is outstanding. And he adds to it every week, every month. Like, so you get, there's actually a DC. There's actually this week in the North Wales low fly area, there's been a DC-6 fly past a turboprop propeller aircraft, a vintage one. And I've not been in his galleries yet. I'll have to go and check if he's put it in, if he's caught it. Good evening, Andy. Yeah, and Andy, the American Marine Corps still uses it, even though they have the F-35. I think they still use the Harrier. I stand to be corrected, but I think they do. The Americans call it the AV-8, though. Yeah, the Harrier's still used by the Marine Corps, Spanish Navy and Italian Navy under the AV-8B. And it's built by McDonnell Douglas there. Scandal really, Andy. The biggest scandal, I mean, it pissed off the Americans that we got conquered. The be all and end all of it was why it was never a noise issue. Concorde never being allowed in, at first not being allowed into America. The issue was America were fuming that they didn't do it first. Because America, for supersonic, the history of supersonic flight, the Americans were struggling with flutter when they went supersonic, and they didn't know how to cure it. And we sorted it. We sorted how to get through the sound barrier without flutter on the tailplane through airflow. Instead of elevators, the British designed elevons, which your full tailplane tilts in the middle, so you get no flutter. It's evenly spaced instead of just at one end, and an elevator. And the Americans basically stole that idea because we wanted something in return, and they said, well, you let us use that and you can have this in return. And we give them our end of the bargain and they didn't come up with their end. So it were a stolen idea, really. So we cured the problem they were having getting through the sound barrier. But yeah. I'm unsure about the TS. I've always been unsure about that aircraft. It led to a lot of the stuff that we used on the Tornado, like the ground following radar. That came from the TSR2. But I've always disputed how. See that one? It was that full of engines, avionics, and everything. There was very little room left for the bombs because you had no room for fuel in the wings. They were that short and stubby and slender. Most of the fuel was stored inboard. So you got very little room. Its payload would have been minimal, really, because you can't have much on wing stalks either, because the wings were really small. I think really it was, don't get me wrong, it were a fantastic flying machine and the technology were fantastic, but as for use, I think it was a bit of a, what's the name? White elephant. Ironic it were white, really, in its nuclear paint. But yeah, the Valkyrie was something else. Shame he'd had that accident with a starfighter flipping over and hitting its tailplane. Otherwise, that'd have probably been developed. Exactly, Andy. That were sad day. He'd had an unbroken safety record. Then along comes some dickhead that fitted something wrong on a DC-10. Yeah, it's a bit of a thing. There'd have been more than one reason they cancelled it, and valleys. The technology were good on it. I'll never dispute that. It was ahead of its times in a lot of ways, but that was that had been discontinued for more reasons than just cash. I think it was a lot more than just political as well. Like I said, you got the tornado eventually got a lot of the stuff from it that was developed for it. And to be honest, I think the tornado was a better package than the TSR2. Like you looked at design at TSR2, the visibility out of it wouldn't have been brilliant, which wasn't important. The way they were thinking at the time was they just wanted it for a long distance bomber. But the thing is, they did that at the time when satellites were coming in, missiles. It was a long distance nuclear bomber, the intended use for it, which, while they were building it, it was becoming extinct anyway. Who needs a bomber crew and send a bomber over to nuke someone when you have missiles? It becomes a pointless weapon. And you can do better aircraft for low level, and there's no denying it, they were great. Well, the Jag's a bit Anglo, that was French British. And you can argue Concorde were French British. Glass 52 you can argue has some roots in German. Because they went diesel hydraulic when the rest of that the Germans were doing when rest of us went diesel electric. Don't get me wrong, still a local I love. And I love the German ones as well, the V200s and stuff, but yeah, you can argue the 52 Westerns were influenced by the German stuff at the time. Yeah, sad a lot of BAE systems has gone. Sad thing for the sad show for the times or whatever it is, however you put it. And the times they are a changing. It's sad, but things change. But it's not for the better if we're ever in trouble again and on a war footing. We couldn't produce our own stuff now. Fantastic, Andy. We have one at Ringway. They built an hangar round it and everything. They flew it in when it retired and built. Eventually, they built an hangar. They parked it in the spectators area. Then eventually built the hangar around it where it stood. If I went into my old hard drives, I've got photos of it not long after it was parked up. with no anger around it and everything still outside in its natural environment. Actually, the sky's its natural environment. Beautiful bird it was. Seen it in air a few times, but not rich enough to travel on it. But yeah, beautiful aircraft. Like I say, some of it with Concorde, some of that. The times have meant that's no longer it's no longer a viable machine for the cost of the tickets. Because you have nowadays with the internet, you can do business by conference calls and like face to face, and like you can like there's all sorts that you don't need it for now. Like all it was, the only argument that were there for Concorde is one that long since disappeared. It were for businessmen who had to do stuff fast and now and needed to meet up. But now you've got you can do it in conference calls. You can decide to have a meeting instantly and be there. Shit, that hurts, Andy. It does, it hurts. I mean, I used to. One of the things I did when I were in engineering, I did a lot of stuff for aircraft because I worked in heat treatment. And I used to always be over Rolls Royce Barnoldswick, BAE systems, picking up parts they needed hardened and heat treated. I saw one for Rolls Royce for the Trent Thou engine. They developed and built it, but they had jigs made for the engineering, and they were made in made in Japan. They were made by Kawasaki in Japan, and one of the knobheads at Rolls Royce dropped one of the jigs and bent it out of line. So it came to us for heating up and straightening. Like we had to lie it flat and heat it up for hours. So it just sank down and straightened again. Back to spec on a flat base. And they were loading it up and they put it on the back of my truck. And the boss said to me, he said, whatever you do, don't drop this dickhead or you're sacked. I said, why? He said, I'm not telling you how many millions that's worth that jig. The amount of money that went into it and developing it. He said, but if you damage it, it's not worth coming back. And I said, so I take it the guy at Rolls Royce is unemployed. Oh, wow. Excellent stuff. Excellent. Yeah, you used to get engineering places like that. Get tug of war teams together and everything. bloody hell, the amount of industry we've got left now, you'd have to go around all of them to get a team to versus the local pub. Sad decline in British industry. It's embarrassing. We don't even really have a car factory that's our own now. We build cars for everyone else. Sad that Rover went, but it weren't unsurprising. And then you watched the management, you thought, which bozos are running these companies? Like they were selling it up when they were selling it off at the end. Well, we'll give BMW the Mini and we'll keep the Rover 800 sterling and stuff. No! Sell that shit heap to the Germans and keep the Mini. And look at how much the Mini's selling now. And the bozos got rid of it to the Germans. Still made here, but it's not under British management. Not under British management. It's totally German owned. How stupid do you have to be running a company to sell your potentially most successful vehicle in decades off and keep the shit? People didn't want Rover 2160s. They weren't good. I know I went through enough of them when I worked for Rover. Most of the range, it's horrible to say, but in later years, they look fantastic. They're lovely looking cars. They're equipped beautiful. But the manufacturing and the engineering, it just wasn't there. The Japanese give British some brilliant engines. Then the British managed to screw them up. What should have been fantastic engines. Sad it makes you annoyed. Well, more than annoyed. When you watch other countries, latest thing, they're selling off Trafford Park near us, Kellogg's cornflakes. Been there 100 years. This all of a sudden decided the factory's not good enough. It's been good enough for 100 years. Anyway, guys, I might cut it short this week because I've had a long week at work. I want to get a bath and chill down. Ready for tomorrow. Then I've got 4 days off after. Then go in for a couple of days and I've got a week off. Bit better this week. Rather than 5 bloody days. But like I say, it's been lovely catching up again, fellas. Lovely. We've had a variety of guys that have been in. See you later, Maddie, Matt. Good to see you. Yeah, I'd stay on longer, but I'm getting a bit of an headache and I want to get some headache tablets and have a bath, chill down. And I'll catch you all later. I don't know whether Mick's still in. Are you still there, Mick? He's not said goodbye, so I'm presuming he's still in. Yeah, see you later, Val. It's good chatting again, buddy. Mick's being quiet, so I don't know whether he's still in. I'll give him a couple more minutes, see if he turns up, and give others a chance to say nighty-night. But it gives me a chance to look out for the next episode of Locomotion Motion and Sam's Trains. Handbags at 60 paces. Careful, girls, you'll smear your mascara. Oh, I'm a bad man. I actually love both of the channels. They both are good in their own way, but some people complain about him being negative about Hornby, Locomotion Motion, but you look at some of the things they do and you can see his point. Right, he's not saying out Mick, so I'm presuming he's... Where were he last? He's not said bye and I've missed him. Oh no, he's there. Back there. Presuming he may have gone making some cheese on toast or something. I don't know. Anyway, I'm saying night-night now, chaps. Tatty pie, everybody. Tatty pie. Here we go. Sign out. Night-night, folks.